Welcome back, viewers. Today, we're diving deep into a topic that might shock you, especially if you've been keeping an eye on how religion is changing across America. We're going to reveal the top 10 US states with the highest Christian populations in 2024. But here's the twist. We'll also uncover whether these numbers are rising or falling. You might be surprised by the trends we uncover today. So, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to stay updated with our latest content. Watch till the end. You won't want to miss the state that tops our list. Starting at number 10, we have California, with a total population of around 39.5 million in 2024. The Christian population here is around 16 million, making up about 40% of the state's population. But here's the shocking part. This percentage has decreased by nearly 5% since 2020. Why is this happening in one of the most populous states in the country? California is a hub of cultural and religious diversity, and this is reflected in its declining Christian population. The state's younger, more diverse population is less likely to identify as Christian, leading to a decrease in overall Christian affiliation. But did you know that California is home to some of the largest and most influential Christian communities in the country? Mega churches and religious organizations continue to thrive in the state, even as the overall Christian population declines. The contrast between these large Christian communities and the state's increasingly secular population is striking. Next up, at number 9, we have Illinois, with a total population of around 12.5 million in 2024. About 5.6 million Christians live in Illinois, making up approximately 45% of the population. This reflects a noticeable decline from 2020, when Christians made up about 50% of the state's population. Why is Illinois seeing this decline? In 2020, Christians made up about 54% of the state's population. Illinois is another state experiencing significant urbanization and secularization, particularly in Chicago. The city's cultural and religious diversity is contributing to a decline in traditional Christian affiliations. But did you know that Illinois still has a strong Christian presence in its rural areas? These regions continue to uphold Christian traditions even as the state's overall religious landscape shifts. Coming in at number 8, New York, with its total population of around 19.7 million, has about 9 million Christians, making up approximately 46% of the population in 2024. This marks a significant decrease from 2020, when around 50% of New Yorkers identified as Christian. Why the decline? New York is one of the most culturally and religiously diverse states in the country, and this diversity is reflected in its declining Christian population. The state's urban centers, particularly New York City, are seeing a rise in secularism and non-Christian religions, contributing to the decline in Christian affiliation. Imagine a state where the hustle and bustle of city life leave little room for traditional religious practices. This is increasingly the case in New York, where many people are turning away from organized religion altogether. Yet, did you know that outside of the city, in upstate New York, Christianity remains a strong influence? The contrast between urban and rural religious practices in New York is stark. At number 7, we have Texas, often called the Lone Star State, which is not just big in size but also in faith. With a total population of around 30 million in 2024, Texas boasts about 15 million Christians, making up approximately 50% of the state's population. But here's the shocking part. This percentage has actually decreased by nearly 5% since 2020. Why is this happening in a state known for its deep-rooted religious culture? The answer lies in the state's rapidly diversifying population. As Texas becomes more culturally and religiously diverse, the percentage of Christians is subtly shrinking, even though the overall population is growing. The influx of people from different backgrounds and belief systems is reshaping the religious landscape. Imagine this: in 2010, almost 77% of Texans identified as Christian. Fast forward to 2020, and that number dropped to around 72%. By 2024, it's now closer to 70%. It's still a majority, but the decline is noticeable, reflecting broader national trends of religious disaffiliation. So, while Texas still leads in numbers, the changes happening beneath the surface hint at a different future. The shift is partly due to younger generations moving away from traditional religious practices, as well as a growing number of people identifying as non-religious. At number 6, we have Florida, with its sunny beaches and retirees, which is still a stronghold for Christianity. With a total population of around 22 million, nearly 11 million Floridians, or 50%, identify as Christian in 2024. But here's the shocking twist. Unlike many other states, Florida's Christian population has actually increased by 2% since 2020. How did this happen? In 2020, Christians made up about 48% of the population, and by 2024, this has risen slightly. Florida's status as a retirement haven plays a significant role. The influx of older adults, many of whom maintain strong Christian beliefs, has bolstered the state's Christian population. Additionally, the rise of Latino and immigrant communities, who often bring devout Christian traditions with them, has contributed to this increase. But did you know that Florida's Christian population is aging rapidly? The younger generation is less likely to identify as Christian, leading to concerns about the future. So while Florida is currently seeing growth, the question remains, how long will this trend last? Coming in at number 5 is Ohio, with a total population of around 11.8 million in 2024. Might not be the first state that comes to mind when you think of Christianity, but with about 7 million Christians, or 59% of the population, it's a significant player. However, the Christian population in Ohio has decreased by 4% since 2020. Why is Ohio experiencing this decline? In 2020, Christians made up about 63% of Ohio's population. The state has seen significant economic changes with the decline of manufacturing and the rise of technology-driven industries. As younger generations move to urban areas or leave the state entirely, they're often leaving behind traditional religious practices as well. Did you know that despite this decline, Ohio's small towns and rural areas remain deeply Christian? The state is experiencing a cultural divide, with urban centers becoming more secular while rural areas hold on to their faith. This divide is a microcosm of what's happening across much of the United States. At number 4, we have Pennsylvania, known as the Keystone State, which has a rich religious history. In 2024, around 8 million out of a total population of 13 million identify as Christian, making up about 61% of the population. However, this reflects a decrease of about 4% since 2020, when Christians made up roughly 65% of the state's population. Why this decline? Pennsylvania, particularly in urban areas like Philadelphia and Pittsburgh, is seeing a shift towards secularism and a rise in non-religious identities. The state's older Christian population is gradually being replaced by younger, more diverse generations who are less likely to adhere to traditional religious practices. But did you know that despite this decline, Pennsylvania still has a strong Christian presence, especially in its rural and suburban areas? Churches continue to play a significant role in the community even as the state's overall Christian population shrinks. At number 3, Georgia follows closely with a Christian population that accounts for 65% of its total population of around 10.7 million in 2024. That's about 6.95 million Christians. However, this is a noticeable decrease from 2020, when approximately 68% of Georgians identified as Christian. Why the decline? Like many southern states, Georgia is undergoing rapid demographic and cultural changes. The influx of younger, more diverse populations, particularly in urban areas like Atlanta, is contributing to the decrease in Christian identification. Yet, in smaller towns and rural areas, Christianity continues to be a dominant force. But did you know that despite this decline, Georgia remains one of the most religious states in the country? The state is home to numerous mega churches and religious organizations, keeping the Christian faith alive and active across the state. At number 2, we have Tennessee, where Christianity remains deeply embedded in the state's culture. With a total population of around 7 million in 2024, nearly 5 million Tennesseans, or about 71%, identify as Christian. Interestingly, Tennessee's Christian population has remained relatively stable, with only a slight decrease of about 1% since 2020. Why has Tennessee maintained such a strong Christian presence? In 2020, Christians made up about 72% of the population. The state's deep-rooted religious culture, especially in rural areas and small towns, has helped maintain its Christian population. Unlike some other states on this list, Tennessee hasn't seen the same level of urbanization and secularization. Did you know that Tennessee has one of the highest rates of church attendance in the country? The state's religious fervor remains strong, with many residents continuing to prioritize their faith in their daily lives. At number 1, Alabama, where Christianity reigns supreme. With a total population of around 5 million in 2024, about 3.75 million Alabamians, or a staggering 75%, identify as Christian. While this reflects a slight decrease of about 2% since 2020, Alabama remains the state with the highest percentage of Christians in the country. Why is Alabama still so devoted to Christianity? The state's strong religious culture, particularly in rural areas, continues to uphold Christian values and traditions. In 2020, Christians made up around 77% of the population, and while there has been a slight decline, Alabama's Christian population remains robust. Did you know that Alabama has some of the highest rates of religious participation in the country? Churches play a central role in community life, and the state's conservative values help maintain a strong Christian presence. Even as the nation becomes more diverse, Alabama remains a bastion of Christian faith. If you found this video insightful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment below. We want to hear your thoughts on these changes. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more fascinating insights.